Today, we talk about.
I saw this tagged on your Instagram, DJ Dramos on Instagram, by the way. Plug. But no, I noticed that you also have tagged like a vintage page. Is that your vintage clothing line? Or?
Yeah. So I'm huge into like vintage clothing. I've been a big collector for a while. That's so Cult Classics is just like
I can tell by the whole Bulls.
Yeah, old school stuff. But yeah, so I mean, I've it's just my own little like clothing store online. And honestly, for me, I'm a big, like the people say you have to have like 7 source of income, right? That's what like successful people have who are independently successful. So I'm always just looking for ideas on things I could do, and it's just like for me, it's like it's cool because I enjoy going vintage shopping and clothing shopping, and like even if I'm not necessarily finding things in my size, it's exciting to be able to have a reason to buy it still. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's just interesting to me. It's like collecting art, and if I get tired of something, I'm like, I don't wear it as much anymore. It's cool to be able to kind of flip it, and also just like. I guess it also shares my style with other people as well. Like my eye is my eye, so it's cool to be able to put that out there and see if other people kind of fuck with it as well.
Right. And then relating that to shoes and sneakers and your sense of style for sneakers. So from what I was noticing on your page, a lot of Reebok Classic, Adidas Continental, saw some Filas.
Yeah.
So like I feel like you're definitely latching on to almost like that pure 90s.
Yeah. I mean, I got really lucky that once I kind of like, I had always been into vintage clothing, but once I got super heavy into like really just collecting it and like, it became my closet, that like this whole wave of just like reissuing classic sneakers kind of came out. And I've just been diving into all of it.
How long has that been going on now?
So I started really like, I would say where my closet has become completely vintage, probably like 3 years maybe.
Oh, 3 years. Okay.
Yeah. And then at the time, it was a little bit harder to find certain things. Like I think Reebok had just reissued the pumps, so I was able to get those.
Right.
So that was one of my go-to sneakers at the time. The Cortezes and the Forrest Gump ones were like the one that came out around that time.
Okay.
I think that kind of really started to push the people reissuing stuff. But it was like tough to want to find the accuracy to like 90s sneakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the Reebok Classics, obviously. But yeah, so this is probably within the last 3 years, and then like out, over the last year and a half, 2 years, everybody's just reissuing all their old stuff.
Yeah.
Which is
Do you feel like it's in the past 3 years where you've started to take a lot more seriously, has that changed your sense of sneaker style, or do you feel like you always had like a similar style as far as what you were wearing?
Yeah, it definitely changed my sneaker style. I think I was big on Vans for a while.
Okay.
And I would always like have like a couple of fresh pairs of Vans in my closet. I'm trying to think outside of that. That was probably always my go-to sneaker was like Vans, like like the skate highs, just like the regular classics, maybe like I don't know, like slip-on or two, like the checkered ones. But yeah, those were always like my go-tos, and outside of that, it was like whatever cool sneaker kind of caught my eye. I didn't really have.
Yeah, speaking of cool sneakers, like what? Because I noticed you're not huge on the hype train as far as like, oh, all the kids want this. This also popping for me. What has there been any sneaker that was hyped, quote unquote, that you really wanted and either didn't get or did get or what? Like.
Definitely, we were talking about this in the video, the Red Octobers.
Okay.
But also the Sean Witherspoons, the original, the first ones.
Right.
I just thought they were really cool concept. And I've seen him putting pictures up of like, I guess his second version, the ones that kind of rip away the corduroy.
Yeah.
I want those. I definitely want to get those. But yeah, I would say those were like the only hyped ones that I've been like,
gotcha.
I wish
Actually,
the Kung Fu Kenny Cortez as well.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Are you a big Kendrick fan?
I like Kendrick. I wouldn't call myself a giant fan. I love the first probably 2 albums. I haven't been like crazy over the other ones, but I just think the concept is dope. Like it's a classic sneaker, and then he kind of reimagined it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now that you mentioned the Sean Witherspoons, like I'm like, duh, that fits perfectly for you because he's kind of like in the same lane, vintage,
right?
Round 2.
Yeah, I think that probably has something to do with it. Like him also just kind of being, I guess, an icon in that world. It's somebody that I look up to, and I appreciate like what he's been able to turn his obsession with vintage into as well.
Right. Actually, have you ever thought about taking your vintage part of your, I guess business for lack of another, or brand, I should say. Like, have you ever thought to mesh that with Breakfast Club as far as like, if you maybe have a cool guest and you're like, oh, why don't I introduce them to maybe some pieces they may be interested in, maybe establish some relationships? Because I've seen some of these online videos of like exclusive vintage, like brokers basically. They're going to Kanye's house and giving him vintage stuff and whatever. It's just like, all right, I guess this is the thing now.
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. It's something that's on my mind, and definitely I'm like, I have to remind myself, like, you have to do that. What I mean? But yeah, I think in the future, as I kind of start maybe diving more into it, for me, it's kind of become just like a secondary thing. But I think I'm definitely gonna start putting aside more like of the rare stuff, and once I start building the name up a little bit more, I'll probably start diving into that.
Yeah, because you have this amazing opportunity where you're exposed to some of the coolest, most influential people in our lifetime, and it's just like. Just right at the table with you every day.
I know, man. And it's funny because I'll get like one of them to be like, yo, that's a fire jacket or something like that. And I'm like, oh, thanks, man. And then after they leave, I'm like, shit, I should just like, why didn't I get his info and be like, dude, I have a lot of pieces like this. I can maybe send you some stuff.
Get your head in the game.
I know, bro. I know. I'm always so like, I don't want to overstep my boundary. I'm like that kind of person. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely like, it's something, I'm glad you reminded me of that. I'm going to keep that. If I got one thing from this podcast, is I need to set my game up in that realm
right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. You're right. I absolutely do. Just kind of get that together.
It's just whatever you're wearing that day, just rip it off your back.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing too, because a lot of times it's like one-off stuff, and it's like, I know I can make a lot of money, but then like my heart is like hurting. I don't want to give it up. It's like my favorite jacket.
But that just shows that you're really passionate about it. So clearly, there's something there for you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely like even as you're saying, I can think of a couple guys. I'm like, I should really be pitching these guys. Yeah,
bingo.
So, appreciate you.
Damn, I need the soundboard to work. God damn it. Fuck. All right, we'll fix it for the next one. Or maybe if we have you back next time, we'll have a much more professional setup. Although this is already a big upgrade for me.
Listen, man, I like it. I dig it.